Oh, hi there. It's Friday, end of the week. I've got the heart rate monitor on. It is a bit overcast and slightly chilly out today here in Northern California, but I am going to try to play some games. I'm also feeling not quite perfect right now, just a little drained. Just I don't know what it is. Just drained, little headachy. I think our cat is also feeling a little under the weather as well. I kind of just want to lay and watch like Dracula and with the cat and do something. But I'm gonna push through. I'm gonna try to play some shogi, try to improve, try to keep it going with some games. Wednesday was great. This week has been a great week of shogi. So hopefully I'm not jinxing it. But I've been playing about as well as I can play. And I'm going to try to keep it up. We'll see. No events, no new events on Shogi Wars. There is the Seitei for the Kishidans, so that's nice. But that's just starting, and we'll see how we do. My results don't really matter so much for the group. It's more what Koshiro and I Dream of Shogi and NinWorld and Ornolf and Spinal Tap Chess do. And we do still have a slot. So if you're watching and you are like preferably 4 or 5 Dan Shogi Wars, if you're up there and you play a lot, you don't have to be up there. But if you play a lot and would be interested, let me know. But yeah, the requirement is for being in this group, you've got to play a lot. And hopefully be better than me. All right, so friend, we're back to 10-second games. Check the scene. I've got the heart rate going. It started beating. I don't know. Is it rising? Maybe not. Maybe it's lowering. It feels like my heart started beating a little harder. Do 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 do. What is this? Is this a raid? Smoglet with a raid of 15 people. Vexel Cafe, good to see you. Good to see everybody. Thank you for that raid. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. I'm Gote again, continuing from yesterday where I was Gote almost every game. Wednesday as well. Hey, Foradun, nice to see you. That is a nice way to start the stream, so I'm going to guess that he's going to go opposing Rook. Nope. Not yet, anyway. Gote is... Gote is the second player. Gote is second player. Yeah, I won't say black or white because I think we call Sente black in Shogi. I don't know. They can go white moves first. This game is like chess. It is Japanese chess. And the difference is that when you capture a piece, it goes in your hand, sort of like your Agehama, but like a little piece stand. And from there, and subsequent moves, you can drop it, for the most part, anywhere you want. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Okay, so I've misplayed my Josuke.
1 2 1 1 2 3 4 5 6 7
I think I'm not in great shape right now.
1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 1 2
I think I'm all right now.
1 2 3 4割り打ちの銀
Wariuchi no Gin. Wow.
2、3、4、5、6。1、2、1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9。
I should have dropped a pawn.
1、2、3、4、5。
Hey, Todovsky, nice to see you.
1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9。1、2、3、
Knight.
5、6、7、8、9。1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9。1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9。1、2、1、2、3。
All right, so we've got lots of tactics going on here.
2、3。
Lots of tactics.
1、2、3、4、5、6。1、2、1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。
I think I can just take this. I know I can just take this, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to because I'm a weenie. I'm a weenie.
2、1、1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。1、2、3、4。1。
Arigatou gozaimashita. Okay. Lots of tactics in that one. Hey, Tulip. So let me get back on the chat. So Tulip, I've said hi to Fordoon. I said hi to Todovsky. I think. So if I haven't, greetings, Tulip, Fordoon, Todovsky. This Elephant's Eyes 1. Oh, I like that. I like that username. Is that in any way a Go reference? You know, I hear eyes coming from a Go stream, and I think it's like it must be a Go reference. So let's see. Well, we've got a lot of chat. I'm so sorry that I'm slow to get to this, especially in a game with 10-second Byoyomi. I'm very slow. Oh, how long does it take to learn the meaning of the pieces? You say 5, like you're asking 5 years, and Vexel Cafe is on that. Yeah, not at all. Not at all. In my experience, if people are introduced to the game in a way that makes it sort of fun and engaging, or you know, people just get interested because they see two people really going at it in a passionate way, I think that it's 2 to 3 games. Maybe I'm overestimating. Maybe I'm being a little too optimistic. But it does not feel like many games. Obviously, it depends on the person. But there are not that many unique pieces in Shogi, and they move relatively similarly, so you're mostly right regardless. But in my experience, it's not all that long. But we do, for beginners, we do have sets of pieces that have, for example, this one kanji character, and then at the bottom, it'll have arrows or indicators showing where the piece moves. There are other pieces that are nice that show, they have little dots or little arrows in the corners of the pieces to show what directions they move in. So, you know, it's relatively straightforward. I'm going to switch my scene a second here. But you know, some people just don't like the kanji. So for me, now, you know, I came to Shogi from Go. I learned about Shogi, I believe, through Hikaru no Go with Kaga. You know, Kaga, famously the president of the Shogi Club, and I learned how the pieces moved back then. But it wasn't until the lockdown where I started really playing Shogi. And what am I trying to say? And so it's been, you know, three-ish years of me playing seriously, but I've known how the pieces move for a long time. And anyway, at this point, 2 years of streaming almost, and lots of games offline. So this is thousands and thousands of games played. I still could not. You know, I can recognize the pieces at a glance, but I could not draw them for you. So it's like, I don't read Japanese, I don't read kanji, and I could not even reproduce these kanji if someone asked me to. But like, it doesn't affect my enjoyment of the game or my ability to play the game. Like, I don't think it impacts my ability to play the game because I can recognize them on sight, and you know, when I'm playing, I have the mental model of the game of the game. Speaking, so Vector's Cafe, if you're still here, I have been having some I think I mentioned to you last time, I was having Lavazza coffee, which like pre-ground Lavazza coffee that like my wife likes to drink, and I've been having that. And I finally got some more beans, and they're decaf, of course. It's counterculture slow motion decaf, which I've mentioned to you in the past. But like, it's so nice to be drinking freshly ground coffee again, even if it's decaf. And I also like the ritual of grinding the beans as well. So, you know, a large part of doing pour-over type drinks, I think for some people, is the ritual, just taking the time to make something. And so I'm back and I'm enjoying that. Fortune, I see, has reached currently on a 5-stream streak. How is it possible? How is your streak not longer than that? I feel like you're in every streak. And Yloigh the other day was a 7 streak, and it feels like Yloigh never misses a stream. The goal in chess, yeah. It's, as Todasi said, it's capturing the rook. No, but it is capturing the king. It is just like chess, the same goal. Okay, an elephant eye is a vulnerable shape. Hey, Darkney, nice to see you. The heart rate app goes low-key crazy. When I am mating the king, I think that's when it goes the highest. It's 8 now for Yloigh. Good to see you. Darkney is also on the 5-stream streak. Oh, you missed Friday last week. Ah, okay. You know, I think when people miss the streams, it's most often on the Fridays. Emperor Rex, good day to you over on YouTube. You know, the Friday streams, I think people are just getting ready for the weekend. That's my theory. But yeah, the heart rate app does go high, but not that high. Like, I've seen professional chess players playing with a heart rate app, and I think people that are players that are generally considered to be calm and collected, they had the highest heart rates, if I remember correctly, at this Armageddon tournament. It was Wesley So and Ricard Rapport, who I believe both they were like in the 150s to 160s, if I'm not mistaken. You know, the problem with that is that especially a show that's trying to build hype, you cannot necessarily trust their numbers. So it's like, it wouldn't surprise me if the heart rate was actually like 130 or 140, but like, you know, the hype of this, whoever's producing the video maybe padded these numbers. I don't know. And, you know, mine's a cheap, like $15, $20 heart rate device from Amazon that sits up under my shirt here on my chest. You know, who knows how accurate this thing is. But in relative terms, it's accurate. I guess that's the important part. Tulip, you wonder how you could draw a 2D chess knight? Maybe as bad as your Shogi kanji? I think I could draw a chess knight very well. But that's also easy because, like, if I just try to draw a horse head, I'm going to be close. You know, I'm going to be close enough. All right. So a good start to the stream. Trying to warm my hands with this tea. Let's try again. You can check your own pulse. That's true. That's a great point. I should do that. I really should do that. I mean, that assumes I know how to check my pulse, which is not great. Which is not a great... Yeah, the gold, I think, is generally the easier of them, I think, for me. But it would probably still turn out to be really bad. Gaku-sanzin, yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Alright, Sente. Okay. Is this Furibisha Day?
1, 2, 3 1, 2 1, 2 3 1, 2 3 4 1 torizashi 1.
Interesting. Okay, so let's do this. Let's rush. Okay.
1 1 1
Yeah, it would have been nice to exchange the bishops while the king was there.
1 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8.
Yeah, the engine doesn't lie, and it's always takes the lance is the right move.
1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9.
Yeah, that's a real bad. That's a real bad response. You know, 10 second is tough. 10 second is tough.
Win. Current streak is 2 wins.
10 second is very tough when you're playing something that is weird to you. Oh man. The silver has a small version of gold on the left side. So my version of silver would just be like a swooping house. So the gold is like a proper squared off kind of house. The silver would be a swooping house with little swoops on the bottom, which I think indicate the directions. So let's look at one of these. Let's look at these. How do we get in here? Okay, so it's not a swooping house. It's a swooping house on the left. It's an R on the right. Okay, so it's like the combination of a swoopy gold and an R. The king is probably the easiest one to draw. For me to draw from memory. Trying to draw a pawn from memory, I think would be really funny. I kind of want to do this now. Maybe we should we do this and compare? Should we do this and compare? I'm going to get a piece of paper. I'm going to get a piece of paper, and then I guess I'll hold it up to the screen. It's a little unfair because I just looked at the pieces, but I will be right back. Okay, sorry. So I would say, first of all, I said, I don't have calligraphy brushes, and I just have a piece of paper. And now I said, now I'm going to draw a pawn. And while I was doing that, I was saying, I can't even draw a piece. Here's my pawn. Is this showing up? Here's my pawn. Let me, what does a pawn look like normally? So this is my pawn. Close. like I said, if I try to draw these kanji, it's basically going to be like an AI. It's going to be an AI. Well, so to do it in the Mac, I could do it in a painting app, but I feel like I might be better with my hands. That's the only the thing with the paper is that I feel like I'm better with my hand. So like this will be like the best chance of what's actually in my brain coming out on paper. All right. So pawn. What's next is king. King will be easy. King is easy. Okay. My let's see. So we've got king. We got king. And it's it's rough, but it's someone would be able to know that this is king. What's next? What's next? Lance. I am mildly disgusted by how bad I am at drawing an actual piece. Just the border of a piece. So all right, so we've got Lance. I know this is not right, but this is the best I can do. I know this is not right, but this is the best I can do. Okay. So there's my lance. That is not even close to a lance. All right, let's see what else. What else do we have? Silver. So I don't even know. I'll do a token. I'll do a token just because I think I know this one. Okay. Is this a... I don't think so. I don't think this is a token. Is this... It's close. It's close, but not very close. It's closer to a sickle. Okay. It's close, but no cigar. Close, but no cigar. All right, so it's time for silver. I'll do silver and gold at the same time here. So silver... So this is not quite fair. My silver is it's not fair because I looked at it. We looked at it before, but gold. Okay, so silver and gold. Which way am I going here? This way. So the silver is the R. That's the closest. And then the gold house is pretty lousy. The gold house is pretty lousy. Time for the knight. The knight. I don't even know what this is going to be. The knight? What does the knight look like? So not really. It's two sticks. It's two sticks, but it's gold is a king under a roof? You just blew my mind. Oh my goodness, it is. Oh my goodness, it is. That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay, so bishop now. I am completely blanking on what a bishop even looks like. Like even the rough shape, it's like a silver. It's so so I'm trying to associate things. I remember on two-piece kanji sets, on bad two-piece kanji sets, I've confused, or not confused, but I've at a glance picked up confused a silver and a bishop. I don't know. I can't do a bishop. Well, I'll draw these bottoms. I mean, that's and now the rook. While hopefully my brain comes up with something, I'll try to make a rook. This is not it. This is so the rook. These are the rook, my rook, and my bishop. So just scroll, pulling back here. These are my pieces, and I'm ignoring the promoted ones. What does... It's a kilt. What does the rook look like? Okay, so it's... Yeah. Wow. Well, that's... The bishop is I don't want to say close, but it's closer than I expected it to be. If I would have drawn a hat on that box, it might have been almost passable. Yeah. This is the what I'm actually doing is designing the new Shogi Dad internationalized piece set. Like, you would never even know that this is supposed to be you would never know that this is kanji. All right. All right. Yeah, I think I could still play with it too. I think that's the thing. I could still play with it too because I don't need to really look at the pieces. Man. Man, oh man. So that's it. I'll have to save that. I'll have to save that. So anytime someone has the kanji excuse, I think I'll have to bring this out. Is that, I don't know the kanji. All right. Let's try another. Let's try another. The pawn is deceptively hard. The pawn is very complicated.
対局開始。
よろしくお願いします。
嬉野流。
Interesting. Okay.
1,2,3,4,5,6,7,8,9
Should I have sacked? Should I have sacked?
2
Should I have sacked?
3 4
I think I should have. I think I should have.
1 2 3 1 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 1 2、3、4、1、2、3、4、5、6、
This is interesting. So I've
1、2、3、4、5、6、1、2、3、4、1、2、3、4、5、
do I have something better?
7、1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9。
That's bad. That's bad.
1、2、3、1、2、3、1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9。
Let's get our silver up.
1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、1、1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9。 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9。
Interesting.
2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9。
Ah!
1、2、3、4、5、6。 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9。 1、2、3。
All right.
時間切れがち。
Arigatou gozaimashita. I don't think that was the sharpest game. I mean, I don't think that was the best game I've ever played, but my heart. What's my heart doing right now? What's my heart doing? Only 10 something. It says 135. Okay, it feels high right now. It feels high right now. Nightwalker, great to see you. You don't have much knowledge on Static Rook, but did he just do double wing attack? This was not double wing. Double wing is I got Kari, right? I got double wing is double wing would be right? Something like this, something like this. But now I don't know But now I don't know how to make this attack. Silver 7-2 before exchanging the pawn. So let's do that again. Wait, Silver. Hey, Don Vito, nice to see you. Nice to see you. Stepdaddy in the world of shogi. Wait, Silver 7-2 before exchanging? Wait. Instead of that, wait, this gold I have to make, right? Then he has to make the gold, right? Is this are we correct to here? Are we correct up to here? So it's Sente's turn. So now you're saying silver 3-8? And then if the opponent... Oh, I think I'm confusing with side pawn picker. So if the opponent does this, we take... And then we come up like that. We do our UFO. Or is this UFO? Hey, NinWorld, nice to see you. This is UFO. Oh, from his profile, Nightwalk, you see his profile is 183 times. Right hand, fourth file rook. Oh, wow. Well, he did bogeying in this game. So he did bogeying, he did bogeying. So it wasn't the fast bogeying. So this is interesting here. I think I do need to do this right now. I think. I don't know if the other option is here. No, I don't think that works. I don't think this works because if I come up, he... Oh, no, because he drops... No, if he drops a pawn, then that's a victory for me, because then I can come back, and his pawn is back, so we can't attack it. Okay. I'm going to take this one into Lee Shogi. Like I said when I started the stream, I'm not feeling that great. I'm definitely not feeling that great right now. Oh, it's getting brighter outside, at least. If Todowski's there, thank you again for filing that report. There's last night I noticed that I can't change my custom theme. This changes here are not saved. They're just not saved. So Todowski, while I was cleaning up some cat vomit, Todowski was kindly filing a GitHub bug report for it. So yeah. Let's flip this on. So the engine is saying I could still do this. And it's liking this way. There was a video from Sora, that Japanese streamer, where he claims to like defeat Urashino Ryu. But the Urashino Ryu player played this way, which caused me afterwards to really go into my notes to see what was going on. Because if you come up here, you know, it block, defend, you get the back, he drops a pawn, you go back. It's normal stuff, but what I'm always worried about is this. And interestingly, well, interesting to me, the engine says just take this. And then, you know, he drops this pawn. You know, we get here, you know, stuff happens. Stuff, it's real sharp. It's as if the static work stuff is not sharp enough as it is. Okay, Todas, you're there. You filled in the Lee Chesley Shogi bug templates many times over the years. So once, yeah, we all explained it. Awesome. Thank you again. So this is not, I mean, this is the low depth engine. So I'm not, you know, I'm still running low depth. I'm not going to give this too much, you know, credence right now, especially since, you know, I know how Urashino's Ryu channel plays it. You know, I've gone over this with high depth. But anyway, he played this move. Okay, they're both fine. They're both fine. I did say I thought I could push, and this engine does prefer this, you know, by ever so slightly. But okay, so I'm glad. You know, I'm turning over a new leaf. I'm not going hyper. In the old days, I would have dropped the pawn and made a mad sack. But you know, this pawn was bad. This pawn was bad. Okay. Anyway. So where are we? Where are we with the? Oh, what I wanted to look at. What I wanted to look at was. Okay, that was bad. So that was bad. 4/4 bishop. 4/4 bishop. Ah. Oh, that's kind of cute. Yeah, I could see that. 7/2 silver. Which is why I did next move. Okay. Oh, Don Vito, you say you have a problem with playing while you broadcast. During broadcasting, you have Shogi attention deficit disorder. You play on okay level when you're on your own. Yeah, no, that's no joke. That's no joke. That's something I've talked about many times. And Koshiro, you know, who is one of the strongest amateurs that we have ever had outside of Japan, has said the same thing. You know, I think it impacts me a little more than it impacts him. But well, maybe that's not true. Maybe it's not true. But either way, yeah, it's very difficult. I still find it difficult. 2 years, it's almost been 2 years that I've been streaming. It'll be 2 years in December. And it's still very difficult for me to talk and play at the same time. And I do think it takes at least a level off of my play. Despite the fact that this week has been very good. Don Vito, is Shogi GUI using the same engine? So I don't use Shogi GUI, but the Shogi GUI, you're able to put your own, you select your own engine. Lee Shogi is using Yanara-O, Lee Shogi itself is using a JavaScript version of Yanara-O, which is one of the strongest Shogi engines out there. And it looks like this is using a neural net. So this is a very strong engine. It's running in JavaScript, so it's slower. It's going to be slower than running it natively on your machine. And this Yanara-O is not up to date. It's not the latest, top of the line engine, but I don't think Shogi engines have really evolved all that much in the past few years. But yeah, so this is very good. Naita, nice to see you. Nice to see you. Naita is Nightwalker, right? Shogi GUI comes with Geeko 5 as a default. Yeah. You can apply your custom board color with this if you have a custom style already. Yeah, I do have a custom style. So, because I'm using that, the Jazz, his name's not Jazz Jackrabbit. Jazz Brothers. I'm using the Jazz Brothers style for the piece set. The properly aligned piece set. I really hope that Lee Shogi adds this. I've been meaning to check. I think Jazz Brothers put in an issue for it. I think. You use Shogi GUI every day. Shogi GUI seems to be the most popular. I don't... Shogi Home is so good, as far as I'm concerned, that, I'm on Mac, so Shogi GUI was never really a thing for me. I used Shogi Dokuro, which was nice. But Shogi Home is so nice. Even though it's an Electron app, it's so nice. Shogi Home. Let me see if I can show this on screen. This is an old version, I think. Let me open the latest release page. Yeah, 125.1. So I almost never use my engine on this machine. This is my streaming machine, and it's too weak really to do much. But let me just try to get this on screen here. Trying to get this on stream to fit. I don't know why this is. I'm not looking at the proper side. My full. Okay. Well, anyway. It's not. You say basically the same. It's prettier. I don't think it's basically the same. It's easier to use, but it's nicely translated. But also, I think its navigation, in my opinion, is a little better. Its key bindings are better. Its support for variations. I like a little more. So you've got this choice over here. And one thing I've recently detected, and I talked. Yeah, hey Killer Ducky, nice to see you. What's wrong with Electron? If you the lull at the end of it is all I need to know. But I mean, Electron's fine. Electron's fine. I think your music cue program is Electron, right? Electron is great. It's a great thing. As long as you have lots of resources and lots of memory and storage and... no, this is not 81 Dojo. This is Shogi Home. This is Shogi Home. And so the board editor, I think, is all right. But it also will... So let's do this. Let's get to a position. Let's get to a transposition here. So I don't know if this version supports it. So it's possible this version doesn't support it. What did I do? So 6/8. So let's do this first. So I will do this, and then I'll do this. And then I will... Wait, did I do this? Okay, so now I'm trying to create this, and I'm not remembering what I did. 6/8 silver. Oh, okay. So it's not that. I'm trying to create a transposition. So now let's do this, and do this, and do this. Okay, so we have transposed this version. So this is the same here as... So it's the same here as if we did 2/5 and we end up here. Okay, so this version doesn't do it. But anyway, if this was the newest version, it would say there would be a button over here saying duplicate. You click it and it would show the other lines that caused you to lines that caused you to reach this position. I've been looking for that because I do so much opening study in this thing. I thought that would be good. It would be really nice if it saved evaluations. So that's a future wish, maybe, that when you evaluate something on your Kifu, there'd be some way to store that evaluation, so that, like, I'm running 10-20 minute evals on some positions. And if it means something, I'll write it in the comment. But it'd be nice that, like, that was integrated. Like, if they extended their Kifu format to include evaluations, then when you transposed, you wouldn't even need to rerun that evaluation. Hey, it's Ian Cannon. Nice to see you. Can you do that in Shogi GUI? I don't know. I can't run Shogi GUI. I'm not on Windows. This is Shogi Home. This is a Kifu editor and player, and a Shogi tool. It's got nice graphs. It feels more modern to me. Shogi GUI I've used a couple times on when people have brought it to, like, the club or something, and it feels like 1990 software. I'm on Mac. I used to be exclusively a Linux guy since 94. I was a Linux and BSD guy until I joined Apple in 2011. And since then, I've been a Mac guy. All right. Yeah, it looks nice. It looks nice. It feels nice. Again, it is Electron, so it's not a native app, but there could be worse things. Yes, NinWorld, exactly. You say it would be cool if there would be software that organizes the variations like chess-base. Shogi GUI feels a bit weird when having many variations in one file. Yeah, so does Shogi Home. Yeah, so does Shogi Home. It works. It works for me, but it's not like chess-base. The little I've seen people use chess-base on stream. Like, I would love... Like, this transposition thing that Shogi Home does is the first time I feel like, okay, maybe they're going in that direction of trying to make, like, a true study power tool. One thing I would love to be able to see would be, like, like I said, saving the evaluations of relative positions, and also being able to set up the board or make moves. You just like get into a mode, click a mode, move pieces around, and say, find this position, like find this, or stuff like that. Or if I could import one of my games and say, okay, in this other Kifu that I've got, you find this position and find where I varied from it. I think ChessBase can do that stuff. I don't know, but like, I don't need all the sophistication of a ChessBase. Like, what I really would love is the opening explorer. Like, I have my own opening explorer. So if I so here's my Urshino Ryu. Here's my Urshino. This is my opening book. So I've built this over time. This is Urshino Ryu versus Sente, or Urshino Ryu as Sente versus Static Rook. So just to keep the Kifus manageable, I have 4 sets of them. So Urshino Ryu Sente versus Static, Sente versus Swinging, then Gote versus Static, Gote versus Furibisha. And so, like, I'll start here. This is the main line. You could see everyone that's orange here. Let me try to get a better sense of how this video is. I can't get a full view here. Okay, so this does show. This mostly shows. Over here, the orange, every orange line means there are multiple lines. So you can see down here, like instead of A4, I've got variations against all of these. So anyway, I'll move on to my next move, and then he's got some options again. 8-5. I've got these. I've got these as possibles, and then these are my. So this is my opening book that I've built. With the engine. Mostly with the engine, because unlike this, so my Satomi stuff, my Nakabisha stuff, all started with Satomi lines. Satomi, mostly just Satomi games. But the pro game doesn't have that much variety, so like you won't see most of the stuff that my opponents throw at me. So that's where I had to augment with the engine. The Urashino Ryu stuff is no pro games. It's all based on games I've played, and then seeing how the engine response is, and then me picking my favorite of that engine response. And sometimes I'll make notes, like when I picked something that isn't maybe the number 1 or isn't the number 2, or I'll mention a pitfall with something else, stuff like that. It's pretty light though, but like here, like this line here, like this is just nothing. No pro is going to do that. Like if there was a pro, no pro is going to do that. But amateurs do all this stuff, this kind of stuff all the time. And like sort of in chess, I guess, but in shogi, no matter how weird some of this stuff that people do, no matter how weird some of this stuff is that people might do, very little of it is going to be losing or even bad. So it's like I still want to be able to come up with plans against it. Even if it's bad, I'm not going to be able to refute it at the board. So anyway, just that's Shogi Home. This version is 1241, but like I think the latest is 1251. Can I adjust engine settings? Sure. So let's get into manage engines. On this machine I only have Suisho 5. So if we go into this, you get all the normal options. These are all parameters for Yanara O that it has all these parameters. Yeah, like these parameters will be the same for every, I think probably for every app. because these are the options that are available to the app, or to the actual engine. And you could set different engines for different, like, game. What was that? Game search. So game research. This is like if you're you could use this. You could set tags so that you can use this for when you're playing a game, when you're doing research, which is what I do mostly, and then or mate search. It's nice. It's nice. It's nice. You know, its sounds are good. It doesn't have as many key bindings as I would like, or the key bindings, like I wish Flipboard was easier. You know, Lee Shogi's UI is nicer in many ways. You have like 5 different engines, and for Yan or O, you put in 3 times for different strengths. Yeah, like I've got wait, what did I just hope I hopefully I didn't save this. What did I just do? Oh well. Oh well. When is the edge bishop side ever going to push 2-4? Yeah, this is let me delete this. Those are just me making moves to give a sound. So I'll delete that from there. This is always a risk. I'm always afraid to bring this up. I see that I have this note over here. There's a note on, oh, you can't see it underneath the camera, but there's a note on move 5, on stream testing, do not use. Like anytime I open up this Kifu on stream, I'm afraid because I might just make random moves and then be like, oh, I must have studied this. But yeah, on my main machine, the more powerful machine, I've got like 3 engines set up, and sometimes I'll play them against each other or whatnot just to see. But yeah, that's Shogi Home. It used to be called Electron Shogi, and some of their UI still says Electron Shogi. You know, it's localized. Yeah, I experimented with Honey Waffle in the past, but like, it didn't seem to really be giving me much difference. It didn't for as a Nakabisha player, it wasn't really giving me many different answers. So I ended up switching off it, or just playing around with both. Ooh. All right. All right. Just reading some of these chats. All right. So here we are. Here we are. The engines are all superhuman. What possible difference could it make to use a different one? Yeah, really. Like, well, I think the thing is, I think the hope that Furibisha players have, I think, is that the different engines would show different Furibisha supporting, that they would fuel their delusion that Furibisha is good. So I think that's the key, is that you want an engine that is going to confirm your bias. And so that's what Honey Waffle does for Furibisha players. You know, they don't like saying that the Furibisha players, and I was one of them, you know, they don't like seeing that after they make a move, a standard move, that they're now minus 300. Like, that's just, it's demoralizing. So change to an engine that's going to say that it's equal. Hey, Tolga Onaral. Well, greetings to you. Greetings to you. Thank you for stopping by. Yep. And Killer Ducky's point about if you like slightly different opening, just use your brain to pick that instead of what the engine says. And that's exactly what I do. So that's what I was trying to get at earlier, is that I'll run in tricky spot, well, in every spot, I'll run the engine, I'll look at the suggested moves, and then I will select the one that I think is more in line with, say, the spirit of Urshin or Ryu, or my ability, or maybe is trickier. So I'm always looking for a move that has very few good responses for the opponent. So if I've got a move that is plus 100, that the opponent has like 7 moves that they can respond with to maintain their equity. But there's another move that's maybe like plus, let's say this move is plus 50. Let's say this move is minus 50 even. Let's say I've got 2 moves. A move that's plus 100 that is easy to respond to, or one that is minus 50 that only has one possible response. Otherwise, it's going to be like plus 500. Like a spicy move, a tricky move, or a move with venom. A lot of times I might select that move if I find one. Those are the gems that I'm trying to search for. Like these moves that are maybe a little worse engine-wise, but easier to play on my side and very difficult to play on the opponent's side. And and so like I think that's what chess players are looking at too when they're trying to use the engines to do opening analysis. You want to find those moves that are hard to respond to and easy to play, or they lead to position, regardless of those, or they lead to positions that you like to play or that you feel comfortable playing. And I think that's a lot of what I'm trying to do when I do all this stuff. And I just enjoy it. Naida, for you, it's all about pawn drops to lure stuff away. You don't understand that you're not good enough, so that it's useless. Yeah, a lot of that stuff, and that's sometimes the thing, is that like, okay, I will, and this is sometimes what makes it painstaking work, is that you play a move, you do the analysis, you take the engine's response, or couple top responses. And then you go down the variation, and you're spending 10 minutes or 5 minutes or a minute. Either way, you're spending minutes, but many minutes to get to this point of chomping away on the CPU. And you finally, maybe 4 or 5 moves down the line, you get to this position where it's like, oh God, this is not what I like. Let's say 5 moves down the line, it's like, okay, I'm now at a point where I have an only move, and I've got to sack a rook for a silver, and and this position is nuts. And so basically, like, I'll go back and just like scrap the last half hour of work, and back to the point where I can sort of take another path. And like that's what makes this kind of thing really time consuming. Because it's difficult to get this stuff at a glance. These engines are slower than chess engines. They take longer to find, in my experience anyway. They take longer to come to a decision. So it's time sensitive work, or it's time consuming work. Tarosky, plot twist: opponents use your research biases against you. Yeah, that's the thing. So it's the saving grace. Like, I used to keep my Nakabisha stuff. I used to keep that on Lee Shogi until Lee Shogi could not handle the size of my keep. So that's why I started doing this locally, because Lee Shogi, like a Lee Shogi study, and a Lee Shogi study cannot handle the amount of variations that I create in these Kifus. Even though I break them up to Sente versus static, Sente versus Furibisha, Gote versus Static, Gote versus Furibisha. Desert Oracle, better to study with a friend if possible and use the engine as a general thing. I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, it's fun to study with a friend, but I don't know. Like, as humans, we're pretty bad at this. And so, like, if I'm trying to go into the lab and do research, like, I would like to know something a little more objective. I'm looking for truth, and I think that the engines are relatively close to truth at this point. And so, like, if I'm going to study and make my opening book that I could potentially review and use as a reference, or make a book with, like, I've been tempted to even as a bad player, I've been tempted to try to make an engine guided Urashina Ryu book, for example. Like, if Idrina Shogi's tool, Shogi Craft, really caught on, I was going to make like an Urashina Ryu course, which would have repeated learning. What is it called? Like I say all the time now, when you put this mic in my face and my brain doesn't work, but that repetition style. I think you get a lot of ideas by analyzing your games and reviewing with friends, or with your opponents. But I don't know. I a lot of times I'll come out of reviews with other humans and not necessarily be as confused as before, but still confused and not quite believing it. Because really, like, if you see how people review games, like even on 81 Dojo, and I don't want to go into my full rant against PGA and big PGA and things like that, but if you look at how a lot of people do PGA, and this is not everyone. Some people are amazing at PGA, and the better you are as a player, the better, I think, a lot of times your assessments will be in PGA. But like, we play a game, let's say we play a game, we're playing a 15-60 game, and each of us are thinking 60 seconds in our Byoyomi, we're not rushing. But then once the PGA comes on, it's like, oh, I could have just done this, and then he's got to come down, or this, and then I can come up here, and then he's got to come down here, and then I get up here. And it's like, yeah, that looks good as you drew it. That looks good. Yeah, that does seem good. But like, in any of this 7 to 9 move sequence that you just blasted out here, like off the cuff, were there any better responses in here? Is this real? And I think a lot of people don't ask that when they're doing PGAs. It's I love this term. I don't know who came up with it, and I don't think it was me. I don't think I came up with this term, but I use it a lot. Where some people like to relitigate the game in PGA. And so, especially like if you've lost, you want to sort of show that you had the good position, or that you would have won, or something like that. And so they relitigate it with this contrived set of moves that look reasonable, but the entire variation doesn't get as much thought as any one of the moves that were actually made in the game received. So I think that's just like, that's a major pitfall of PGA, I find. And I do think it limits I do think it limits its value a lot of times. To me, at this point in my shogi life, I feel like the PGA is still good because it forces you to think about shogi, which can only be good. And also with the proper mindset, or with some goals, some goal-driven PGA, you can get something out of it. Like at this point in my life, I think when I review a game after, with a human or without, I now want to take away. I want a takeaway. This started in April after the U.S. Shogi Championship, where I decided, I want to have at least one takeaway out of every single game that I review, especially a game that I lost. I want to have a takeaway so that at least, sure, like every lesson, I'm not going to remember every lesson, but if I make the same takeaway enough, I'm hoping it's going to set in. So it's like, if I'm losing or winning, at least I want to try to keep the bar going. And I think that's where I'm standing on PGAs. But PGA, I think, is also fun at times. So, like, for example, at the club on Sundays, after I've lost a game, and we're going through some of it a bit, the person who I play and review these games with, there are all sorts of PGA people. There are people who are good at PGA. There are people who are not so good at PGA. There are people who are extremely annoying at PGA. And my regular opponent is good at PGA, and he's not annoying at PGA. So it's great for me. It's really nice. It's really like a nice, humble PGA person is worth their weight. But anyway, it's fun because it's fun to talk about shogi, even if I lost. To hear the thoughts of what he thought I might do, or where he thought he messed up, or where he thought I messed up, or where I thought I messed up, or where, comparing and contrasting where I thought I messed up versus where he thought, or where I thought he messed up, where he didn't think he messed, the turning points, like if in many of these games, it's not just a straight bar going up. I think, that there's ups and downs. And so I like going over those. So it's like a matter of having fun discussing shogi, thinking about shogi, which I think will only improve your shogi. But also, he records the kifus. So at the end of the day, when I get home, I take the kifu, throw it in the engine. If we haven't talked about it, I'll look at it myself, just by myself, and then run it through the eval, and then I'll get the answer. Then I'll get the answer, and I'll say, like, okay, did what we discussed, was that correct? Was it incorrect? Were my intuitions correct? Were his, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's when I'll also try to start making my takeaways from the game. So anyway, long story short, and obviously, this isn't even advice. This is just my take on this stuff. My take as a not a very strong player. But the engine is very difficult to use. The shogi engine especially is often very difficult to use. And I think it's a matter of, a lot of times, just sometimes ignoring it. Not ignoring it, but being like, okay, well, that's an engine. That's an engine line. This is I'm gonna have to thread a very, very small needle, and I might not be able to do it. As Oracle, you say, when I can call it truth, but in many cases, a metaphysical truth that you can't comprehend. Yeah, this is true. It's totally true. It's totally true that it's it's like a metaphysical truth. But yeah. Foradun, you say you think the engine should be used to verify a hypothesis from the analysis. It's important to form a hypothesis first. Yeah, agreed. So I agree on that, and that's why I said that, like, you know, we will analyze the game, and if we haven't, I will think about the game on my own before I do the eval. So that essentially, I think I'm forming hypotheses either by myself or with my playing partner. Yeah. But I think there's also, I think in some games also, and maybe this is some laziness, and maybe it would be better, but like, say, you know, you get a 150 move game, and sometimes it's like, so much happened in that game. Like, I don't think I want to spend 2 hours on this game review. So I will, you know, I'll think about the parts that I thought were most critical, and then I'll turn on the engine and find all the other places that we made a mistake. And then I'll look at those. So it'll be like a guided analysis, which to be fair is probably not as good as doing all of that on your own. But then again, the best analysis is maybe the one that you do. And like if you got to spend 2 to 3 hours just to try to make like hypotheses for the entire game, that would probably be something I would stop doing. It probably would be something. So like, you know, I know that there are like chess educators. I think Chess Dojo does this. Or maybe it's someone else. I don't remember. But like, you know, they're big on spending hours reviewing a game. Hours. And I guess at some point, it's all about what you're looking for in your chess or your shogi. And that's not what I'm looking for. That's like, if the only way to improve is to spend 3 hours per game doing an analysis, then I guess I'm just not going to improve. Then I think in the end, I'm just not going to improve. And I think there's enough evidence that isn't the case, but I don't know. I just, you know, sometimes it's grandmasters saying this stuff, so it's hard to disagree with the grandmaster, but different grandmasters say different things, and I think everyone is subject to overweighting the things that maybe they did to get to a certain point. And there are many ways to skin this cat of improvement, I think. And so anyway. Yeah, Matthew Sadler. Good to see you, Danny Boy, the first time. Matthew Sadler said it's a tool, the engine. And then Matthew Sadler is a huge engine guy, you know, huge, you know, famous in chess circles. And he's a shogi player. I think he's a 3-dan at least level shogi player on 81 Dojo. I'm not sure if he plays WSL anymore, but he's a British bloke that plays shogi and is also a chess grandmaster, and I think a renowned or well-regarded expert in engines, you know, in chess engines. And he said it's a tool that can cut, you know, that can cut rope, or you can cut yourself. Eval after the game analysis seems like a good practice. You get frustrated when you lose and sometimes look at it too quickly. Yeah, I agree. I definitely do too. I think sometimes, maybe this is also a form of frustration. But it's like, you know, I play a game and I lose, and I'm thinking back, and it's like, I mean, I'm sure I've had games on stream where I've said this. It's like, I don't know what I did wrong. It's, you know, I'll come out of a game and it'll be like, I don't know what I did wrong. I think I played fine. I didn't make any huge blunders. And the position just sort of gradually bleeds away. And I think in those, like, those are the ones that I find the hardest to make sense of on my own. And then sometimes those are also the hardest to make sense of with the engine, because all you'll see is little micro eval losses. And it's like you see the eval, and it's just like, you know, it's just going down, and it's like, okay, I made a micro mistake here where I gave up 50 eval bucks, and then I made a micro. It's like, these are not even mistakes. Like, these are not even classified as mistakes in Lee Shogi. It's just like, here's another 50 eval micro loss. Here's another 50 micro. You know, next move is a 25 eval loss. And just slowly the position grinds down, and you didn't really make any big mistakes. And you just lose. You know, I've done that over the board. So, you know, it's like, so you can't even use the cheating sort of thing to be like, well, maybe this person just, you know, this person played, used an engine. Like, if you see that their Lee Shogi ever sent upon loss is like 40, 45, you could say like, well, maybe they just used an engine. Because, you know, it's very difficult. It's extremely difficult to get that level. Especially if you are playing well. Like, in a sharp game, like, the pros don't play at that level. But I have played those games where my opponent over the board has done that to me. And I thought I played well. And so it's like, I know that this can happen. You know, I've played games myself, both over the board and online, where I've played at like a 40 cent upon loss, and my opponent ended up with like a 130 or whatever it is, you know, some very low cent upon loss. And it's like, okay, I know that this is possible, but anyway, I don't get much out of those games. You know, like Ornald says, sometimes you just lose positionally and get slowly grinded out. That's exactly it. You make some small positional mistakes, and then you don't complicate enough, and it's just a slow grind down. Doesn't mean the opponent is cheating. Just means you put yourself into a positionally difficult spot, and then you didn't make chaos. Best thing is to play Duck and start at minus 600 eval bucks. Yeah. The streamers keep saying the eval, forgetting that proper evaluation considers multiple factors and isn't just a number. Well, I mean, the end result is a number, but yeah, it's all about multiple factors. And, you know, some of those factors in every eval, those multiple factors are weighted differently. So, you know, what that great eval could be is, the weight of a great eval could be on an incredibly difficult, nearly impossible, like, long sequence of tactics and only moves and whatnot, and otherwise it's bad. So it's like, that's why I think reviewing this stuff and, you know, going through the lines and taking, you know, when you're trying to build your opening book, you take what the engine says, but you try to put it into terms that you can understand, and then you evaluate it as you play down that variation, and you still evaluate it for your own playability. Danny Boyd at first time. You wish there was a sensitivity training for low ACPI games. Yeah, so that is one of the thing, and I'm especially the way that Lee Shogi shows it. What it calls mistakes and things like it's very strange, especially once you get to the edges. Like, once you get to a winning game, like, it's very difficult for the person who is losing to make a mistake. And so you get sort of very out of whack evaluations for the losing side. and to a certain extent for the winning side as well sometimes, because the losing side is making huge blunders that aren't really being called, like, huge equity mistakes that are somehow not being considered in the ACPL. It's strange. Yeah, I one of these days I was thinking I would look to see how they do that, because like I look at some of my games where it says, like, a losing game that I have, and it'll be like 2 mistakes, 1 blunder, no error. Like it'd be this. You would think that I played 1 bad move in the entire game, but if you look at the end game, it's like I'm bleeding equity all over. It's the difference between using Lee Shogi's terms. It's a difference between plus 15 and plus 25. But it's like they're huge losses. They're huge mistakes. And they're not even counted as like the basic inaccuracies. And so it's like once the engine, or once the system decides that you've already lost, it almost doesn't consider anything you do as a blunder anymore. So it kind of inflates your sense of how well you played that game. Yeah, and I started off with, it's easier to get a low average error game by prolonging victory in a 1 position. Exactly. Yeah, that's a great point. You can definitely game it, intentionally or not. And I think sometimes, like, in the games that I've played over the board where my opponent might have, or the games that I've played where I have a 40 or 50 cent upon loss, average cent upon loss game, it's like, okay, it was a mate in 3, but I turned it into a mate in 17. And it's like, so instead of having 3 perfect moves or 2 perfect moves, I had 9 perfect moves, kind of thing. And, weighting my average, because, there's still no loss from doing a mate in 3 to a mate in 33. Danny Boy, you worry about this too. Sometimes you steer towards simple positions and then the ACPL low, but it was a slow, simple game. Yeah. So I honestly, outside of my own little, like, emotional satisfaction of looking at a game review and looking at my average cent upon loss, I don't consider, I barely even consider that. I just don't. Like, I consider the individual moves to see whether I played well or not, or my opponent played well or not. Because I think that average is just so wrong. It's so prone to being misinterpreted. And it's so prone to being misinterpreted. So I don't really look at it, especially since, like, if you plug a lot of these pro games in, the pros will have, like, there was a game that I watched. It was, a Sharp game. It was a Satomi Nishiyama title game, and you'll see, like, average cent upon loss of like 250 to 300 for these players, and these are 2 of the greats. And the thing is, they're making very sharp, difficult moves. They're making the game difficult for their opponent. For an engine, the end result is a single number. For humans, there isn't a need to think about things this way. Yeah, I agree. I do agree. But it makes it easy to talk about. It makes it easy to think about. Not necessarily accurate, but easy. And I think it still helps to think in terms of, am I better? Am I better by a lot? Am I better by a little? I think it still helps in those situations. Obviously other things, like, does the opponent have Sumero on me? Does this, is that? Yeah. NinWorld, you say, and somehow I missed this. At least I think I missed this. If you say for you, you only use the engine to detect blunders in the game. Most engine moves in equalish positions are hard to understand and seem quite unpractical. Totally. Like I've shown. Let me get into my. So this is perfect example. Here's a game. Here's a game, over the board game. My opponent played at a 90 average cent upon loss. I played at a 202 average cent upon loss. I'm listed as having one blunder. And so if I'm Sente, obviously, you go to these types of games, and so like here, you're looking at an engine here and trying to find these moves. There are a lot of good moves here. But you need to know the idea of what you're going for. And we end up in these types of positions quite often. And I played 3-5, which looked 3-5 pawn, which looks like a slight it's not it goes from minus 0.7 to minus 1.5. So, it's a little bit. What is the, this is with the server side eval. And then, so I do that. And then he goes 3-2, which increases his eval a little bit. This is the problem of being relatively low depth. But the engine does this too. The more it thinks sometimes, once you make the move, it doesn't like it as much. And then I take, which improves my eval. But anyway, either way, these are such minute changes. These are such minute, until this move. There's such minute changes. And like you could argue, I think you can argue for a bazillion moves in this position. And you're gonna be fine. So it's like, it's not gonna help to be like, well, the engine said I should probably do this instead of this, because this is 0.1 better than this. Like it's not practical. It's just not practical. But at the same time, I think that's what makes studying these positions so difficult. So difficult, because you just don't know what you should even be doing a lot of times. Like, what should I be, like, what are the ideas I'm looking for in a position like this? What are the fundamentals, or what are the I'm trying to search for the word. The fundamentals. Like, what are the fundamentals? What fundamentals can I lean back on here in order to make a move? So my text is so small over here. Ahadresit Sista Nocturno 945. Hello. This is Lee Shogi. Yes. Don Vito. So you're trying Shogi home now, and you may be falling in love. Thank you. Oh, awesome. This gal looks pretty enough to marry her. Yeah, exactly. It's pretty. It's pretty, and it's a joy to use. I think that's a very important thing for software, is that it's got to be fun to use, or enjoyable to use. And I think Shogi Home, despite being an Electron app, I think is pleasant and joyful to use, and I like it a lot. I never felt that way about Shogi Dokuro. Shogi Dokuro was, I used it. Hi, Atari, what are you trying to get? Alpha Zero, Danny Boy, you say Alpha Zero used probability or winning chances. Yeah, winning chances are interesting, but again, like, it's winning chances for a specific context. It's a better, more human metric. Yeah. So, like, if they could somehow turn that into winning chances for a human, I think it would be interesting as well. But even then, that's a loaded question. For what kind of human? Is this what are the winning chances? Let's say we tried, just not that we could do that. Like, this is an even game, but regardless, let's say if we can turn this into winning chances. Let's say, like, what are the winning chances here for Gote? Gote has a slight, minus 0.7 advantage here. So let's say that this is 51%. If it's an equal player, let's say that this is, or not even an equal player. Let's say if this is two Shodans playing, no. If there are two 9-dan professionals playing, this is 51% for Gote, 49% for Sente. If this is two amateur Shodans playing, what is this? 50%, 50%? What if it's two, like, I don't know. I didn't make enough variability in my initial setup here to make it meaningful. But like some of these games, like it might be a game that is like a 55 to 45 for two pros might be a 50-50, a pure coin flip. Like many games are going to be pure coin flips. The lower you go. And everyone has a different style as well. Yeah, NinWorld. Where am I from? I'm living in Northern California at the moment. Todovsky, you say there are 4 fundamental factors in evaluation. Yeah, king safety, material, initiative, and peace activity. Yeah. There's the Hidechi video about this kind of stuff. And I think Carolina may have a video about this as well. But, some of those, it's just like, it's tough to apply to to take those fundamentals and apply them to the decision-making process for a particular move, like in a game like this, where we acknowledge it's one side is faster, one side is safer, and we try to at the end of the day we have to pick a next move, and it's tough to be like how to evaluate that. Oh, I see Maya. Yeah, the Todosky mentioning the Maya project. Exactly. Expected performance at different levels, which I think is awesome. And that enables you to make. I believe that's what enables you to make engines that play like 1100s or play like 1700s, and things like that. It's awesome. Anita, you like Shogi GUI more, to be honest, but that's probably because you're more used to it. But Shogi Home feels so limited, and there's still a lot of Japanese in the English translation. Interesting. Shogi GUI just felt like very poorly localized to me. Is that a bunny? Is that a squirrel? Oh, there's a black squirrel. Does anyone see it? I'm not sure if you see it. On the table, he's now swinging on the swing. There's a swing back there. There's a black squirrel. Does it show up? I'm not sure. It might have showed up. It might have shown up. There was a black squirrel sitting on our swing, swinging on the swing. Yeah, okay, you saw it. Growing up in the Midwest, so I grew up in Cleveland, and I think the only squirrels we had were brown squirrels, tan squirrels. And then I moved to Chicago, and I think the squirrels there were, at least where I lived, I think were mostly gray squirrels. And now out here, we have all three. We have all three out here. Use black squirrels, brown squirrels, and gray squirrels. I told you, Maybe it's useful in this position to attack the rook with bishop 8-8 or putting it on 6-6. Yeah. So interesting. So in a lot of these, and this has become a common theme in our games. In a lot of these, it is about getting this going. So like this move is great. I don't know if I'd call it a prophylactic move because it's also allowing us to open the bishop, but this is great because it prevents this. This is a constant thorn in my side that I have to deal with in these games. And this silver, I don't always have this, but this silver is up here, defending against this, which is also very annoying. These in our games that we play together, these diagonals become keys of this game, and so there's that. Sometimes coming out here, sometimes coming out here first. I suspect coming out here first is probably going to be better because this guy is going to be stuck. I don't know if it's dead. If we push, is it? I'm just staring at this. I have mostly stopped doing this because I sometimes would get this trapped, or I'd have a difficult time just sort of like trying to maneuver so I don't get trapped. And I think right now it is gonna. Yeah, if I push this, it's trapped. It's dead. So I mean, obviously I can't do this now, but I think preparing here might be something that would be worth doing. But I don't know if I'm willing to give up on this attack yet. So what do you say? I think getting it on 6-6, it's two moves, but I think, but I like that because often in the positions that I play like this was semi-inspired. This edge attack is semi-inspired by some stuff that Koshiro has taught. By having the bishop on 5-7 and then on 6-6, it becomes really nice for making that edge attack. But I usually don't think about the edge attack until I at least have a pawn. Yeah, these are like this is it's months of playing these style. Here's the eval. Here's the eval for that game. It's one of those where, like I was talking about before, there aren't many mistakes. And it says for my opponent, 90 centipawn loss, and just 4 inaccuracies. 4 inaccuracies, no mistakes, no blunders. And mine is relatively good at 202. 202 is not, but what kind of game is it? Todosky say, in your wars games, your reasoning for which fundamentals you use and why can be specious. But as long as you're trying to apply them, you can ask comparative questions later. Yeah. And that's the thing is like, if I try to, and I don't do a great job of it all the time, but it's like, I try to remember, what am I thinking about now? What am I thinking about now? What are my concerns? What are my worries in my life right now? And then I go back after to be like, okay, let's address these worries, or let's address these thoughts. Were they good? Were they not good? Actually, if we came up, would we be fast enough to be able to sort of make something happen? I'm going to flip the end. So the problem here is that this engine is it'll be low depth, and it's not the highest Yanra O, but okay. So this is calling right now to pull the silver back, and often I will do that. Except I don't like having to deal with this. I'm going to guess that this is going to be how we turn. I am going to guess that if he comes back, if I come back, the bishop comes out, and then I have to move the silver to 3-7. It's also possible that it'll advise jumping the knight. I'm not sure. So let's see. Let's see. Come back. This isn't even one of the best moves, but it's a move we're gonna see. And then the engine, they're both okay. They're both okay, but it's 0.0. Then this comes out, and then I come up. Oh no, I don't come up. No, I don't come up. I just take. And then we shuffle. Then we shuffle. We do the shuffling stuff. And this in my experience, is where the better player will more often grab the game. It's not because he's in book, or it's not because I'm out of book. It's just the better player will find the better moves. Or they will find the moves that don't lose. So, when I'm shuffling, often I'm going to make a mistake. But like I've said before, I win probably between 10 and 15% of these games. And so sometimes, I pull the slot machine and I find a good move and my opponent doesn't find a good response. And those are fun. But it almost feels a bit like a slot machine. Because it's just hard. It's hard to come up with plans. I think it's often very hard to come up with plans here. The challenge here would be to make progress without weakening your castle. Yeah, and potentially to strengthen the castle. So I think a lot of times in these positions, I'm also looking to improve the castle. Like potentially this, if we're not going to make an edge attack. You say your opponent would prefer to attack without moving their generals if I gave them such a chance. Exactly. Yeah. He wants maybe sometimes this. He wants he wants to be able to put pieces down here. He wants to get his pawns in. And so many of our games have ended up where I've got some promoted pieces, he's got a rook over here or a rook over here, and then the lance is coming down here, and I'm struggling to hold this. This pawn falls. I'm struggling to hold this square so that he can't just get free in a path towards my pinned gold. It's a feature in a lot of these games, and it's often going to be faster for his. Like if we're both in, if we mutual attack, obviously his castle is great against the side. He's gonna have plenty of time to break my stuff out. So it's they're amazing games. I love these. It's such a cool feature of Shogi, and even though most of our games start the same, they rarely end the same, and the middle game becomes different quite often, and that's despite the fact that I think we're both very comfortable with our Joseki, and we're both mostly happy with what we do. A lot of my variation early on is because I sort of forget my line, but the variations that I forget, the moves that I make that are forgetful of my main variation, they're all things that I've studied and were fine anyway. You say they don't have a flexible position unless they start moving their castle. Well, yeah. So a lot of times this is going to start happening. The knight's going to come up. You're not here because this bishop is here. Not here because the bishop is here. But like a lot of times we'll end up. He'll be high Mino. The silver will start making its way down. The rook is going to come over. But this whole battle is often a key. Lately, my silvers are not here. Or I'll have silvers like here or here, and here. I'll have a pushed pawn. I'm like I say every time I run against an opposing rook player, I'm throwing everything at the wall, trying to figure out how I can crack this opposing rook nut. And I'm still not finding something that I love, that I'll be like, okay, here is how I deal with this. Like, here is how I deal with this. And like, this is the plan that I'll make. And I guess in the end, Shogi is not easy enough, is not simple enough, such that you could just say, okay, in this position, I'm going to have a plan and I'm going to do it and I'm going to win. Or, because the opponent is also making plans and doing different things, and each little variation of these pawns seems to really impact how the rest of the middle game is going to look. And so sometimes it feels like it's a little hard to take away from some of these games, because the next game might have a slightly different pawn structure. Yeah. I'm hearing weird stuff out there. Anyway. My throat is dry. I've been talking, unfortunately, now without water for a while. It's only 2 hours. My head is bothering me a bit. I don't know if I want to keep going. If I should just lay in bed and watch Dracula. I've never watched the original, that old Dracula. Thinking of doing that. I'm thinking of doing that with Atari. And yeah, I think I'm just gonna do that. I'm gonna call it a day. The games today, what was it? 4 games? 4 games? I think I was undefeated, so I'll take that. The games were good. The conversation is better. But I think that's gonna do it for this week. Tomorrow I'll be doing an interview, so I'm excited about that. So we'll have another, if all things go to plan, we'll have another interview for this week's podcast. Very excited about it. Very excited and intimidated, but that's just how I always am. So I think that's going to do it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for another great week of Shogi. Maybe I'll come on a little later. But I don't imagine that happening. I'm just gonna rest, and that's it. So thanks. I will see you later. I'll see you. Have a great weekend, and enjoy your Shogi. Take care.